Hello, everyone. We're super excited to have you back to our Exceptional Live show. I am your host, Rasha Swify, the president of Exceptional Results, here with the one and only Jason Safford, the founder of Exceptional Results Now, and the CEO and the master coach. We're super excited to have him here today because we are talking about how to choose the right coach for you, so you could take where you are right now into having exceptional results on demand. And we're picking back where we left off the last time, which is why coaching is important. It's really, really important to have the coach that's going to help you deliver the results that you're seeking. And with that being said, there is no one else to talk to have this discussion with better than Jason Safford himself. And Jason, if you could tell us a little bit about how we could go about choosing the coach that is right for us based on the results that we're looking to have.
Well, thank you, Rasha. And first off, as always, grateful to have the opportunity to speak with you. And for all of our listeners, thank you for tuning in and having the opportunity to share with you some of our thoughts on coaching. So the first question always is how to choose the right coach and why you make the decision in terms of coaching. And to step back and revisit our conversation from last week, why coaching is important is because you can't achieve your ultimate goal or results on your own as much as we would like to believe we can. And I just said something that should motivate anybody to prove me wrong. And that in itself is one of the opportunities in coaching. When I tell you you can't do something, I'm not doing it because I don't want you to do it. I'm telling you you can't because the reality is that the effort that it takes to prove me wrong is massive. And as a parent, when you tell your child you can't do something, you're trying to steer them away from misdirecting their energy or from doing something that's not safe. So coaching is very much a matter of steering. And sometimes the motivation is in telling someone what they can or cannot do. So
Right.
that is in itself one of the aspects of coaching that somebody needs to take into account. Now, how you choose the right coach for you has to do with your own energy and being in touch with your energy and understanding who you are. Again, in the last episode, I think I talked about a saying from the Oracle of Delphi and the great philosopher Plutarch, know thyself. Well, understanding your energy, the type of person you are, the type of energy that you put out into the universe, also helps you to understand the type of energy you need in terms of feedback. And that has to do with whether you can or you can't. Do you need somebody to tell you you can't? Or do you need somebody to tell you that you can? Because we all work in different ways to achieve our ultimate goal. So, how to choose the right coach has more to do with how you understand yourself and being able to communicate that to somebody else, or how somebody communicates to you in a way that gives you the understanding that you need to push yourself. Now,
Right.
the second part of that, and allow me to clear my throat here, the opportunity that we fail to recognize too often is that coaching is about helping you to get more uncomfortable. And I want to repeat that. Coaching is an opportunity to help you get more uncomfortable. So why would you want to have a coach that makes you more uncomfortable? Because that's where you grow. That's where you push yourself. That's where you drive forward. You don't drive forward when you're comfortable or in comfort. You don't do anything very impressive when you're in comfort, because when you're in comfort, you're in stasis. You're not trying to accelerate. You're comfortable, which means that you're casual. You're lying on the beach somewhere with a Mai Tai and a cool breeze and a nice ocean in front of you.
Right.
That's not going to push you very far. So it's when you're uncomfortable that you're going to get the most results. And ironically enough, just to plug our company for a second, this is why we chose to call ourselves Exceptional Results Now, because our goal is to give you the hardest questions, the greatest challenge to get you uncomfortable right now, to push you to results right now. So that's a part of our coaching style, is to disrupt you and to get you into a state of discomfort very quickly and get you to think actively, use your mind, use your body, use your spirit, use your soul, all of these things. So getting back to how to choose the right coach, you have to identify what is the type of person, the character, the personality, all of these different traits that help you to get uncomfortable and direct yourself in the right way and fashion on pathway forward to get to your goal. Because as we began this conversation, being able to get to your goal by yourself is an enormous challenge that very few, if anybody, is really able to accomplish. And if you can do it, congratulations. You don't need a coach. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong that you don't need a coach. I'm absolutely coaching you right now to do that. So I want to explain that how you choose a coach has everything to do with your own mindset and your own comfort with your willingness to be uncomfortable. And the more you're willing to live in a sense of discomfort, is the better your choice in coach is probably going to be. Now, why am I telling you all of this? Why am I sharing with you the choice in how you choose a coach? Because somebody would probably listen in and say, well, I don't like you as a coach. I don't like what you're saying. And so therefore, I don't even understand why you're sharing this with me. Well, first of all, I'm sharing it with you because the value that I want you to have is far greater than any personal interest that I have in your success. That's the first thing.
Right.
But the second thing is that the success I want for you is something that isn't tied to me. Okay. I want your success because I know that you have the capability within you to be exceptional. And if you want me as your coach, you're going to understand that that's what I'm focused on. I'm not focused on you. I'm focused on your capability to be exceptional, because I believe that all humans have that ability to be exceptional. And it's for us to dig deeper below the surface and get inside ourselves as deep as we possibly can, not only to find out who we are and what we're capable of, but to figure out how we take those capabilities and put them on display, how we showcase our true ability, our true nature to be exceptional in such a fabulous way that the world takes note of who we are and recognizes us for that exceptionalism just by acknowledgement. And once we do that, then we really have achieved something that is not only incredible for, our own sake, but we've done it for humanity's sake, because we are all one people, all one entity when you really think about it. love thy
Right.
neighbor as thyself, my brother and sister. We're all, humans. And so therefore our humanity is our ability to showcase to each other that true exceptionalism that we have within us. So I want to share with you that the opportunity to have a coach and how to choose a coach is something that you really have the ability to think about from a story that I'm going to share two stories. The first one is really to identify and highlight how to choose a coach based on understanding of who you truly are and the challenges that you truly put in front of yourself on a daily
Mm-hmm.
basis.
Mm-hmm.
So recognize that choosing a coach has to do first and foremost with your mindset. When you wake up in the morning and you start your day simply opening your eyes, are you grateful? Is your mindset one that realizes that you've been given another 24 hours, hopefully, to live?
Mm-hmm.
Anything can happen within this 24 hours, and you could no longer be in this vessel you call your body.
Right.
But if you happen to be able to live this 24 hours to your maximum ability, what are you going to do with this 24 hours? So if you
Mm-hmm.
start your mindset every day with that focus, now you can start to think about, why do I need a coach and how do I find the right one? Because
Mm-hmm.
my mindset is focused on, I need to make the most of this 24 hours, and I need to have somebody that's going to help me to maximize my potential of what I have with this 24 hours.
So you're saying if we were to get some clarity on what it is that we want or what we're trying to accomplish, that would help us reach the point where we could decide on the type of coach that we want. Because you would have to get to a point where you realize, okay, I have come this far. I've been able to achieve X. And in order for me to reach new heights and do the things that I have not been able to do up to this point, do I need a cheerleader, or do I need someone that's going to put me outside of my comfort zone, that's going to show me things that I have not been able to do on my own, and identify blind spots that I can't see, and help me identify an opportunity within myself where I can reach these new heights. Yes.
That's correct. So just to repeat back to you, for our Facebook listeners, the question is about recognizing that your mindset is about achieving clarity to
Hmm.
identify the personality and the character of the coach that is best going to help you in terms of
Hmm.
how you approach whatever challenges, whatever blocks that you're currently experiencing. Do you
Right.
need a cheerleader or do you need a driver?
Mm.
And again, our slogan is drive impact, because we're drivers. We're not cheerleaders. We're not there to just go, hey, you can do it.
Right.
Now, that being said, that doesn't mean that we aren't willing to be cheerleaders and we aren't positive. Everything about what we do is positive energy. However, we have a specific direction to that positive energy in which we're trying to help you make and maximize your effort in a specific way. So cheerleading is obviously one type of coaching that
Right.
people and enter into. But the second, which is more valuable in my opinion, is driving. When you're driving somebody forward, yes, you're on their case and you're kicking their butt because you want them to understand that they have more and they're capable of more, and you want them to get to a point that they can do it for themselves, and then you can become a cheerleader, because now you've gotten them to focus on themselves being the driver and driving themselves forward. So yes, there are two types of coaching. We choose the harder of the two, which is being the driver, which means that you may not like us in the beginning. In fact, you may not like us in the end. But what you will like is the results that you achieve from what we are focused on. Now, I promised you that I was going to tell you a story. And so I'm going to begin. The first story is about an old devil who decided that he wanted to get out of the business, the devil business. And he put all of his tools on display. So you had hate and envy and, jealousy and all sorts of different tools with extraordinarily high prices. And, there were lots of people that walked around looking at these tools. Obviously they were very, very significant in price and not, most people probably couldn't afford any one of these tools. But there was a young devil who happened to, come into the room and see all the tools. And he noticed one tool in particular that was very disambiguous. In fact, it was really not noticeable at all, except for the price tag, which said priceless. And so therefore, nobody in the room could afford this particular tool because it was priceless. And he went to the old devil and he looked at the tag and then he looked at the name of the tool. And he said, I don't understand. How is this tool, which is so disambiguous, it's rusty, it has no particular shape, it's too light to be able to bludgeon anything with, but it's too dull to be able to cut anybody with. How does this particular tool work? And how is it possible that it's priceless? And the old devil looks at him and smiles and says, that's the tool of discouragement. And the young devil says, yes, explain to me how discouragement could be priceless. And he says, well, with discouragement, which is so simple that I put it out in front of everybody to see as my weapon of choice, the reason why it's priceless is because with discouragement, I can enter subtly without anybody truly knowing what I'm doing. And then I can use any other tool of my choice to accomplish the fear that I need to steer you in the direction that I want.
Wow. That's powerful.
Yes. So understand that all of us are capable of discouraging ourselves from the minute that we wake up in the morning and open our eyes.
Yes.
Because again, the devil is within us. And so therefore, when you recognize that you are your own worst enemy, when it comes to attempting to achieve whatever level of success that you are focused on, simply by a little discouragement that you give yourself, then your first thought when choosing a coach should be, how is this person truly going to help me to encourage myself? What is the encouragement that I need to know that I can achieve anything that I want? Because as I tell my children, there is nothing in life that you can't achieve as long as you're willing to put your mind to it. And understand, in order to put your mind to anything, you must be willing to overcome discouragement. You must be willing to rid your mind of any thoughts of discouragement. And to do that on your own is to truly be exceptional. Because our challenge as human beings is that every moment of our day, we're faced with choice. And that choice is always going to be an evaluation of things, of what we think we want versus what we think we need. And oftentimes, when we choose what we want, we find out later that it's not really what we need. And truthfully,
Mm-hmm.
that what we want doesn't really serve us other than to
Mm-hmm.
satisfy an
Mm-hmm.
emotional need at that moment. And so, therefore, think about how often we become discouraged by our choices simply
Mm-hmm.
throughout the course of a single day.
Mm-hmm.
And so, therefore, my goal in helping someone to understand how to choose a coach and why they should focus on a coach for a particular purpose is because it all begins with knowing yourself and knowing
Yes.
how you discourage yourself. So, Rasha, I want to encourage everybody who's listening and watching this particular episode to understand that first and foremost is that I know that you're capable of achieving far greater results than you're currently actually doing. And
Mm-hmm.
that more important to achieving those results is recognizing that the right coach for you has to do with how that person gets you to encourage yourself.
Yes.
So the more that you look at yourself as the driver of your results from a point of encouragement, the more that I can become your cheerleader. But
Mm-hmm.
until you're willing to encourage yourself on a daily basis with everything that you're doing, where you're looking at your actions and you're looking at how they get you towards your end goal, your primary mission being completed, getting those results that you need on a daily basis to get the outcomes that truly suits your long-term vision of who you want to be,
Mm-hmm.
that's where I'm driving you. And so therefore, people who want to work with me are going to think about it and say, okay, Jason's focused on my results. He's not focused on whether I'm happy or not. I
Mm-hmm.
want you to be happy. And I will do things in a manner that I imagine that your happiness can be achieved. But I am not in control of your happiness. Your
Mm-hmm.
happiness must come from you, from driving yourself and encouraging yourself to get the results that you truly want.
Yes, and I think that's an important point to touch on. If Because oftentimes there is a sense of confusion between what my coach will help me achieve and what is my role in this. So if I hire the coach, that means and they promised uh, some results, right? Or they can help me get from one point to another. And if I don't get to that point, then it means that they failed me. But there is definitely a separation between the results that the person is responsible for and then the actual impact that this coach is having on the mentee. So if you could clarify that for our listeners, because in addition to some clarity on knowing who to choose as your coach, there is a separation between the responsibilities there, and there is a sense of accountability that plays a great role in the type of results that they're going to achieve.
Right. And I'm glad that you pointed that out, Rasha. So to, again, to share with our Facebook listeners. So the question now is about how do you develop that relationship between the coach and the mentee in such a way that there's a very clear delineation about the responsibilities of work and results and
Yes.
who's really responsible for what. That's the first part of it. But the second part, which is a little more subtle, again, goes, and this is where the devil is in the details, pun intended, but also, no pun intended, because this is for both the coach and the mentee to recognize
Mm-hmm.
what you bring into the relationship, how you establish the intentions up front is going to be what sets the tone for how you really achieve results together and understand that everything is about achievement. So if you remember going all the way back to our first episode, we talked about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the fact that as you go up the pyramid of needs, you get to the top, which is self-actualization. And this is where you really recognize achievement for what it is. It's the ability within yourself to identify as you're going after something, what are all the tools and resources you need, both within yourself as well as the external world. So
Yeah.
it's a matter of how resourceful you or become within yourself. Your level of resourcefulness is how you're able to self-actualize the results you truly want to achieve and then surpass them. And this is where identifying with a coach what your intentions are and having a coach identify with you what their intentions are for you. And establishing up front in that relationship what you both truly want to achieve out of this relationship. So again, I established up front in this conversation what I wanted to achieve for our listeners and what I wanted to achieve for everyone. And I
Right.
want them to understand, and I want you to understand that my focus, my intentions are on building a winning team of people that are successfully focused on becoming exceptional for themselves and for the world. So again, our motto is drive impact. Okay, why is it drive impact? Because we're driving you forward to being the most impactful person you can be. We want you to have the greatest impact on humanity and the world. That's what exceptionalism is. So now I'll share with you the second story. I promised you two stories. And the second story is how we get to achieve exceptionalism. And the story is of a young journalist who decides to interview a very, very successful and wealthy old businessman. And as he's interviewing him, he has to stop suddenly and say, "Sir, I just want to understand one thing from you more than anything else. How is it that you have been able to accumulate all of this wealth over the course of your life?" And the, old, wise, successful businessman stops for a second. He looks at him and he smiles and he says two words: good decisions. And the journalist says, "Okay, so how do you make good decisions?"
Right.
And he says one word: experience. And the guy says, "Okay, so how do you get experience?" And the old man says two words: bad decisions. So understand that the moral of that story is, don't go out there and make bad decisions just because you want to get experience. The moral of the story is that you need to take action. And whether that action results in good decisions or bad decisions will share itself with you. And over time, the more action you take is the more your results will yield good decisions, not because you're a genius, but because the more consistent you become in taking action, in making choices, in making decisions, those decisions are eventually going to become aligned with the results that you truly want to achieve. You're not going to just get the great results because you took action in the beginning. As much as everybody would love for that to be the case, yes, there are incredible stories of young people having success at an extraordinary level. Mark Zuckerberg is obviously one of the greatest cases that people think about. But it didn't come easily, number one, and it didn't come at a low cost or a low price to Mr. Zuckerberg himself. And I'm sure he'd be the first to share the extraordinary costs that he probably had to pay to achieve the level of success that he has received. But part of his fortune was that for every bad decision that he made, somehow he was able to encounter the right experience and then direct that experience towards making a better decision.
Mm.
So, as a coach and the opportunity to coach someone, it's being able to help them recognize how to speed up that process. And if you
Mm.
remember when we talked about what coaching is, several episodes ago, I referred to myself both as a head coach of a football team, but also a track coach. And
Mhm.
as a track coach, the goal is to get you to understand that you're not just running a race, but you're learning truly the art of running in a way that as you master that art, as you master yourself, every time you line up for a race in the beginning, every time that you prepare yourself physically and mentally for that starting gun to go off, you are in a position of total alignment with the results that you want to achieve,
Mhm.
so that when you cross that finish line, it's not a matter of expectation, it's a matter of visualization that you are getting the result that you wanted to achieve because everything that you did for so long lined up to achieve that result. That's the self-actualization that we work on when you come to exceptional results now. And that's the exceptionalism which I want for everyone to have when they leave and go out into the world and do their best to achieve the goals that they want to set for themselves.
Yes, 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 absolutely. And that is our mission. I mean, like we help you align with that. We help for our listeners, those that don't know us very well. With exceptional results now, our mission is to align people and planet for profit and purpose, and that is exactly what we do here. But with that being said, let me ask you this, because it's not uncommon for people to get to a point where they are highly discouraged. It does happen, life happens. But if you are in that space and it is difficult for you to align yourself with a purpose because you've reached a point where you felt, I have disappointed myself so much, I'm not 100% sure what to do at this point. How do I go about getting some clarity to identify what my next step is in order to choose the right mentor for me?
That's a great question, Rasha. So to, again, step back and share with our listeners, um, the challenge of discouragement can happen at any level of success.
Right.
There are billionaires who get discouraged on a daily
Yeah.
basis. I mean, with what just happened with GameStop, it
Mm.
totally disrupted the market. And so, again, when does discouragement happen? Okay. And it can
Hmm.
happen at any moment, but it often happens when we're in a situation or a stasis of comfort and something that we expected didn't happen or didn't result the way we
Mm.
expected it to. So
That's
once we
true.
start putting expectations out there and those expectations aren't met, we immediately begin to allow discouragement
Mm.
to occur within us. The second thing that you're mentioning there, which is how do you then you're asking the question, how do you then find clarity and
Hmm.
meet with a mentor? Again,
Right.
that is the opportunity within yourself to evaluate yourself. And this is the challenge of everybody who is listening on a daily basis is, again, the story of the devil and discouragement
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
that we don't even recognize it. It's
Yeah.
so simple, so disambiguous, so vague in terms of how it can happen in any choice. So therefore, we have to constantly look at our thoughts and our decisions and all of the things that are going on in our mind. And we have to be able to say to ourselves, why is this important to me?
Mm-hmm.
And when we ask ourselves that question, why is this important to me? Then we can go out into the world and we can ask somebody else, why is this important to me? And we can allow them to tell us why this should or should not be important to you. What is it that you want? So therefore, when you look for a coach, when you look for a mentor, part of what you should be looking for, again, when you talk about alignment, again,
Mm-hmm.
for us, it's alignment of people and planet for profit and purpose.
Yes.
If you want to align with that, then obviously you should have a conversation with our organization, set up a discovery call, connect with us in whatever form that you need to, so that we can learn about you and make sure that we're the right fit. But for yourself, that is exactly what you should be focused on, is being able to ask those questions of other people. Why is this important to me? And have them answer it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the answer isn't necessarily a statement. Sometimes the answer is another question that allows you to dig deeper within yourself. Because
Mm-hmm.
as we began this conversation, remember, I said exceptionalism isn't just something that happens to you. It's a journey. It's
Mm-hmm.
something that you're digging deeper and deeper within yourself to find that inspiration, to find that drive that makes you become that exceptional person, where it's not that you're doing anything inhuman or unnatural. You may look like you're doing something inhuman. Again, one of my all-time favorite, levels of exceptionalism is sharing Michael Jordan,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the exceptional things that he did that made him, appear exceptional in so many ways on the basketball court, but also the drive that he had to live that life in every way, to achieve that level of exceptionalism as a person. And if you think about that for yourself, if you think about what it is that you truly want to achieve, then if you're consistently applying yourself to that every day and you're digging deeper every day to figure out, how do I become 1% better every single day of my life? Getting up and saying, what could I do a little bit better? What could I do a little bit more? That's where the magic formula to
Mm-hmm.
exceptionalism lies. And it's not the only ingredient, and truthfully, it's
Right.
not the secret ingredient, but the
Right.
magic formula is the combination of ingredients, some of, well, all of which are in my book, Winning with Exceptionalism, which I'm going to plug out there for people to get a copy of. But the point of it is that there is a formula, and humans have, since the beginning of time, been working on that formula. Some of us achieve it, some of us give up on it, but it's there for us. And our biggest enemy, again, is ourselves and that tool of discouragement. If we
Mm-hmm.
allow that tool of discouragement to be used against us, then fear, again, which is simply a concept, it's an illusion. As
Mm-hmm.
the statement says, the only thing to fear is fear itself, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
if
Mm-hmm.
you take away that fear by removing discouragement from your mind, constantly guarding against it, by encouraging yourself and recognizing that, yes, you can do anything that you want to achieve in life as long as you put your mind to it. And that, no, you can't do anything in life unless you're willing to believe that me telling you you can't is going to drive you forward.
Yes, yes, and I think you've also said something very profound earlier when you talked about being grateful, because one of the like I believe the strongest weapon against that devilish tool of discouragement is gratitude. If you shift that paradigm and focus on what you're grateful for at the moment, it it will help you gather some clarity on what steps that you need to take next. And hence, just as you were saying, being able to identify the steps that you need to take, and that would help you align your energy with the coach that is right for you, so you could reach exceptional results. And there's something that you've said that I just want to make very clear to our listeners as well, which is being exceptional or reaching that level of exceptionalism is not something that you just get to. And I'm like, okay, if I've reached it, I'm good. I'm here and I'm here to stay. It is something that you would have to work towards every single day. And it starts with that, as you've said, that mindset that you have when you first wake up in the morning. What are you grateful for? And
That's
then
right,
set your
Rasha.
plan on what you're going to do next.
That's right.
Um,
And I want to, just bring that back to, for our listeners, that again, an attitude of gratitude is
mm,
the greatest weapon against discouragement, because that is encouragement. When you're
mm,
thankful for being able to wake up in the morning and for what you have for that moment, that is the beginning. That plants the seed of encouragement in your day, because now
mhm,
from that gratitude, you can go forward and share with the world all of the positive energy within yourself. And when you feel that positive energy, think about reapplying it to yourself. Think of being your own mirror. When you look in your mirror and you are thankful for what you see in front of you, then
yes.
you can start to encourage yourself to be more and to do more. And that's where the opportunity to receive the blessings of the universe, as people now, so openly talk about, they're 100% right that the universe is this wonderful field of positive energy that is all of us. Our
Mhm,
existence is this positive energy, and it's simply for us to turn the mirror on ourselves and start with gratitude, so that we can feel the positive energy that we are able to share with the world, and have it reciprocated back to us. And
mhm,
I want to leave our listeners, with the final answer, that how you choose a coach is obviously an individual decision, but it should begin and end with that gratitude and that focus on encouragement. And
mhm,
why you should find somebody that is specific to your language. It's no different than the 5 love languages. Everybody has their way of receiving information, receiving communication,
yes.
receiving energy. That is what our beautiful human experience is that each one of us is unique, and we have different ways of collaborating.
Mhm,
And you and I discussed this, and it's a future episode, but understanding just between masculine energy and feminine energy,
yes.
and how they are collaborative. They're not supposed to be destructive.
Right.
However, our world
Or
is
competing.
filled. That's right, and that's destructive. When we look at competing, and we understand that it's comparing, that
Mm,
is destructive. We're not mirroring each other.
mhm,
But the beauty of masculine and feminine energy, when it's truly collaborative, that is what makes it so power and so exceptional.
yes.
And that is the opportunity for unity.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's too much disunity within our world right now that is not parallel with the universe. We're in conflict because of our lack of understanding and our discouragement towards each other, and this recognition of what masculine and feminine energy really is. It's all positive energy. It's just different forms. It's
Mhm,
just different
mhm,
sides of the same coin.
yes.
And it's how we cooperate and collaborate together on a purpose. So
Mhm,
again, we align people and planet together for profit and purpose. And if
mhm,
you think about starting with people and ending with purpose, that's how you find the unity. And that is for us, again, why we drive forward and try to get you the exceptional results now.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Jason. And for our listeners, I really appreciate how you bring out the challenge of not only to dig deep within themselves and um, find out the clarity that would help them get to a point where they could make the decision for themselves on what it is that they truly want and what is it that they really want to achieve, and align themselves with that proper coach, that mentor that isn't just like them. So I think that uh, that's the mistake that's so easily made when you're trying to choose a coach. You go for someone that's resembles you. But I think that the challenge is also in finding someone that is different from you, that has been and done things that there are and achieve things that are higher from you and have a different perspective so that you can see things differently. If you're working with someone that see things exactly the way that you see them, then you both have the same, you could potentially have the same blind spots. But if you have someone at your corner coaching you with a complete different perspective than you, then you have the opportunity to see things from a different perspective, a higher perspective, and have the opportunity to achieve more. But with that being said, thank you very much, Jason. The information provided here was very valuable. And again, we look forward to seeing everyone in our next episode, where we will continue this discussion. Please feel free to reach out to us and contact us if you have any questions. We would love to go through them with you. Feel free to contact us here at Founder at Exceptional Results Now, or Rasha.Swify at Exceptional Results Now, or just send us a DM and we'll be happy to get back with you. We look forward to seeing you again next time. Thank you, everyone.
Rasha, again, so grateful to have this opportunity to share with you. And to our listeners, so grateful to having the opportunity to share with you. And we look forward to being able to help as many people in the future. Have a wonderful day.
Absolutely. Take care.